Баю, баюшки, баю, не ложись на краю. Придет серенький волчок и ухватит за бочок. Он ухватит за бочок и потащит в лесок, и потащит в лесок под ракитовый кусток.
The Russian people, our motherland, has been through quite a lot this century. First, we had to endure the Russian Revolution and the tortures of the monarchists and the Bolsheviks. Then, we had to endure Russia being fragmented by the Germans, millions of our own family being executed by Germans for no apparent reason. Then Taboritsky and his crazy ideals getting us into even more chaos. So, it's time for a change. But how much of a change? Well, right here in Omsk, Abaddon, I think that's how you pronounce it, is going to be leading the Brotherhood of Cain, a Satanist nation, which is pretty wacky, even in the TNO universe, to hopefully Russian reunification. Now, I just want to point out, anything done or said in this video is purely for educational or entertainment purposes. The Brotherhood of Cain is quite the most radical option to reunite Russia. This is definitely the most radical and extremist video that I've ever done on this YouTube channel. So it's going to be quite the wild ride. Now, if we do want to do some of our expanding, we are going to have to increase our army size, because if we want to tackle nations like the redeemed, Black League, and the communists, and obviously the remnants of the Holy Russian Empire, we are going to have the strongest army, quality and quantity wise. So we better start deploying some divisions. But as you can see, manpower is low, but that won't be a problem, because Abaddon's extremist ideals will surely increase our manpower size. Now, I just realized that this nation has got the most law out of all post-taboritsky nations, I think. Well, that's from what I know. I've only played like 5 nations post-taboritsky, I think. But they're quite dark, as you can see. So, you can pause the video if you want to read all of these events. Now, what's happening outside of Russia? It looks like that, despite nobody fighting Germany besides the UN, it's triggered the Second West Russian War thingy, where they surrendered. Quite peculiar. Anyways, I've deployed those divisions I've been training. It will take time for them to gain the equipment that they need, but all that matters is that we've got a full batch of newly deployed divisions ready to tackle the threat of reunifying Russia. And the first war of the video will be against the 3 Kazakh clans. I'm expecting this to be quite an easy war with our army size. The first days of the war were relatively easy. There was only one cavalry division on the front line, until the rest of the army showed up, and then still it was pretty easy. We just maneuvered past and beyond the front lines. We captured major cities before reaching the outskirts of the capital. Once we could capture the capital city, all we had to do was just capture a few more major cities down south, leading to the inevitable capitulation. Major victory for our nation. But we're not going to stop there. The Eurasian Black League, although it's a ultra-militaristic state, their army was pretty weak for us. It did not rush down rapid industrialization and growth of the military. We would also capture the Chelyabinsk Institute, So that not one, not two, but three nations that had been assimilated into the Brotherhood of Cain. A major victory for what's soon to come Russian reunification. And even better news than that is we have developed our first mechanized division. It's not much, but it's still very helpful. And oh yeah, I've also acquired some of the redeemed Black Leagues. Generals and field marshals, for us we cannot conquer Russia with only one field marshal, Abaddon. Now, back to our conquest. We are going to declare war on quite a powerful nation compared to all the other nations that we have declared war on. We are going to be fighting the Trans-Ural Confederation. They have got quite the divisions and quite the industry, so let's see how our army can do. With Abaddon leading our army into Zlaut, which was our first target of the war, we capitulated them with haste. They capitulated way sooner than I expected. We didn't even capture the city Perm, I think. But anyways, we also tried to invade up north to the wastelands with, you know, the Nenetsian thingy and the Imperial Airborne. They were extremely weak, obviously, because they have no resources, industry to fuel their army. So that is three nations under our control. But why stop there? Those nations were merely just a speed bump on our road to Russian reunification. So we're going to accelerate even further and invade Siberian nations to our east. It's going to be quite tedious, more than hard, because of our army size, but oh well. We're going to first start by invading probably the strongest nations there, the Republic of New Tomsk, and first, the Central Eurasian Republic. Now we're going to invade the Central Eurasian Republic first because that will give us a key advantage when invading the Republic of New Tomsk, for as we are bordering the capital, Tomsk. So with the capturing of Novosibirsk, the Central Eurasian Republic capitulated. And once here we also captured the city of Tomsk. The new Republic of Tomsk also capitulated. Now we would invade some monarchists in Atalay, or however you pronounce it, followed by some anarchists, some anarcho-communists, and some vanguard anarchists. But instead of invading them one by one, I would just fully declare war on all of them. Or, by all of them, I mean the remaining Far Eastern Siberian nations. Alexei II and his wacky ideals also fell, followed by the Regency of Holy Russia. They were actually pretty strong, despite their wacky principalities. Who am I to say wacky ideals? But that's besides the point. The refugee zone in Amer fell. I didn't really want to fight them. They're a pretty chill nation. And then we had to invade Magadan and the American thing. But it would take too long. I mean, mountainous regions and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna say that we won with the Far Eastern Conquest. And so we can annex the rest of the wastelands in Far Eastern Siberia. So the Brotherhood of Cain is looking quite sizable. We are obviously the largest and most powerful Russian nation, I think, besides the Olafian, Moscovian thingy, but whatever. That's later on in the video, when we're going to conquer them. So, we're now going to direct our army west. We're going to invade the remaining nations down south. The Kazakh Purification Army, some communists, and some Polish remnants. Now, after these wars had been concluded, I would soon realize that I couldn't, declare war on the rest of the Central Asian nations using the post-taboritsky TNO mechanic. So I had to do it using the TNO tool state or whatever it's called. But I would soon realize that these nations have actually had years to develop, so they were a bit more stronger industry and army-wise. However, that would not stop Abaddon from causing chaos, inflicting damages across so many regions, and so many families have been destroyed. But, oh well, I am playing as him. I'm not gonna stop his rampage. As we continue to invade, we would soon declare war on the last Central Asian nation. And they were obviously the strongest, because they had major cities, but once we captured those major cities, they would soon realize that the Brotherhood of Cain would inevitably assimilate them. Now that all of Central Asia and Siberia have been conquered, we look up north and west to the more industrialized and more fortunate Russian warlords. We're going to start by invading the south and gradually working our way up north. Now, some nations here in Western Russia were pretty alright. We invaded our worst enemy, I guess, the Christians, because we're Satanists. Jeez, this is so silly. Anyways, as we began our invasion in the Holy Russian Empire, or the most powerful remnant, they would capitulate once we captured cities like Vyetska. And some capitalists, or imperial capitalists, west would be the second to last to fall. Once they fall, we would just have to capture the last nation. And just like that, basically all of Russia is under our control. So, the final war of this video, the war against so-called freedom and democracy. We're going to be invading Finland, what's left of Moscovian, Ukraine, Caucasus, Baltics, and Belarus. Oh yeah, and Poland. I had to, obviously, get rid of Moscovian from the OFN because it would make it too unfair on my behalf, because I have no navy. I have no possible way of researching navy because of the new TNO update, sorry. So it would be literally impossible for me to do a naval invasion on the US. Not to mention, nuclear war would break out. Well, as we advance further and further into former Reich Comstedia territory, I would soon realize that the strongest nation of them all was Poland. They obviously had a number of divisions for their uprising against Spear's Germany. However, most of them were encircled because they could have no way of going back to their homeland. So we took advantage of this, killed off a good population of their army, but even more importantly, we would crack down on minor nations like the Baltics and Belarus, giving us more opportunities to snake around our enemies' front lines. We captured major cities in Ukraine and what's left of the Caucasus. Now, on the Western Front, all we had to do was just get rid of Poland. But before that, I was hoping to capitulate the Caucasus first, because they were pretty weak. Now, despite they had quite a big army, Polish and the Caucasus, our army would triumph. I mean, we had years of development and rapid growth. Our people were more motivated than ever to conquer and destroy. As Poland was about to capitulate, I soon realized that we had to take every single individual tile, which is quite tedious, but oh well. That means more deaths for the Polish, unfortunately. But anyways, that's besides the point. We remain victorious. Through evilness and vengeance, Abaddon has inflicted suffering on millions upon millions of lives. Innocent or not, we have created the true kingdom of Hellborn. Now I know this isn't the prettiest sight that you've seen, but this was just a recommendation from one of my viewers, okay? So once more, anything said or done in this video is purely for entertainment purposes, not intended to inflict harm physically or emotionally on anyone. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and